In this video, we'll show you how to make a gorgeous but easy to make angel for this Christmas. Let's begin. Before you start designing, set the fabric in sewing machine or hoop if you want to use something different from the default settings. Now, let's select a hoop for the design. For the purposes of this design, we will select a normal fabric. Now, let's proceed with the design. The easiest way to make a three-dimensional angel is to make specific hats on the flat round design and use those to keep the 3D angel in place. I'll show you how to make it step by step. Start the ellipse tool and click and drag on the design area to create a perfect circle about 5 mm smaller than your hoop. To do that, hold the Control key pressed down and click and drag from the upper left corner to the lower right corner. Release the mouse and the Control key and the circle is created. Now we need to verify that we have indeed created a perfect circle and make sure it is centered within the hoop. So, select the created ellipse and on the Tools Options bar, check if width and height values are the same. If they are not the same, or if you want to change the size, make sure that proportional is disabled and type the desired value for width or height. To make sure that the circle is centered in the hoop, tap on the machine icon and use Center to Hoop option. Now, click on Duplicate button to create a duplicate circle. Next, right-click and use the option Use Shape as Work Area. This will be our guide area. The guide area is below the object, so you can't actually see it at this point, but you can see it by shifting the object. Having the circle object selected, go to Convert menu on the top toolbar and use Convert to Curves option. We do so to be able to fully edit the circle shape later on. Remove the fill from the circle as we don't need it. And start the node editor to edit the shape. On this upper node, we will add a node 5 mm to the left and one 5 mm to the right of the center. To do so, put the mouse cursor on top of the line at the point you wish the node to be added. Right-click and use Add Node option. You can also double-click on the line to add a node at that point. Now, select the two new nodes, right-click and use Cusp Node option. Drag the center node to the position -1.2 on the vertical axis. For the dragged node, right-click and use Auto Smooth Node option. Now, start the ellipse tool once more to create a circle, which will be the head of the angel. Select the circle that you have made and set the tool options. 0 on the horizontal axis, 5 on the vertical, while width and height are set to 3. The positioning is ideal for our design in this specific hoop. If you're using another hoop though, take your time to fine-tune the placement. Remove the fill from this circle as well. Again, using the ellipse tool, which will create the angel's halo. Draw an ellipse on top of the angel's head. Then draw another ellipse inside the first one, this time slightly smaller. Switch back to selection mode and select both ellipse shapes. On the top toolbar from Shaping menu, use Trim option. The shape of the ellipse on top will be trimmed by the one below. Delete the small ellipse, remove the outline from the shape, and select a more appropriate color. Now we need to draw two lines with a width of 3 centimeters at -5 on the vertical axis. This will be our cut lines. Add 4 notes to help you adjust the outline of the angel. The ones next to the head will be made auto smooth notes, while the ones on top of the halo will be cusp notes. We will move the cusp notes closer to each other and change the curves they are connected with into lines. Fine-tune the shape. This part shown in blue and the 2 cut lines are to be cut out right after embroidery in order to make the 3D angel. So this is the basic pattern of the angel. The following is our take of decorating it. Feel free to design your angel's face, wings and robes in any way you like. For instance, to change the shape of the wings, we may add a few notes so that we can add more curves to the wings. The guide area can be used as a guide to maintain symmetry. Select the wing, right-click on the mouse and click Auto Border. Set to the inside and distance to 5 mm and click OK. Select the created auto border, click Edit Nodes, place the mouse slightly above the cut line, right-click and click Split Outline. Select the created auto border, right-click and use Break Apart option. The auto border is now in 2 parts, the upper and the lower. Select the upper part and from the Properties area select the style to be applied. Let's change the color to make the finished image more vibrant. Now, for the lower part, instead of a style, we may use a clipboard item to decorate it. Select any clipboard item and click and drag to define the size. Use the same color as before. Now select both the lower part and the clipboard design at the same time. Right-click and from the appearing menu go to Array and use the option Create Outline from Shapes. The clipboard is roughly placed on the line. Resize slightly so that the design is inside the shape. Delete the clipboard you've placed first. Have in mind that the cut line is a mark of where to make a cut after the embroidery is complete, so avoid this area when embroidering. If there is embroidery on this line, the thread will fray when you make a notch, so make sure that there is no embroidery in this place. So I'll make sure I edit the shape of the upper part and lower part, so no embroidery goes on top of the cutting lines. And now it is time to digitize the shape of the angel's hair. Fine-tune the shape using Node Editor if necessary. Apply the same golden color. Using the ellipse shape, create the eyes and the mouth of the angel. At this point you can be as creative or minimal as you like actually. Position them accordingly and apply the golden color. Finally, select all the black outlines, apply the golden color to them as well, and set their type to satin cereal. Move any part overlapping with the outline. And you're done. Now it's time to send the design to the sewing machine. Turn on the machine, load the design. Set the bobbin thread and needle thread accordingly. Since the back side will be visible when the angel is assembled, make sure you use the same thread for both needle and bobbin. Hoop the felt. Attach the hoop to the sewing machine and start embroidering. When the embroidery is complete, remove the hoop from the sewing machine and remove the cloth from the hoop. Carefully cut out this area on top, between the wings, and at the side of the head. Make notches cutting out the 2 lines that are embroidered with running stitch. Assemble and deck the holes.